Welcome back to The Wandering Screen. I'm Matt Carson. I'm looking at Rental Family starring Brendan Fraser today, so let's jump right in. There's always something heartbreaking about watching people try to be connected, and that's exactly what Hikari's new film Rental Family explores, the ways we fill the gaps in our lives with borrowed affection, with stand-ins for love and truth and vulnerability. It's a tearjerker, but also life-affirming, and honestly, who doesn't love a collective sob with strangers in a cinema? The story follows Phillip played by Brendan Fraser, a struggling American actor living in Tokyo who's been drifting through life for years, and he's lonely, mostly out of work, and spends most nights sitting by his window with a beer, watching the neighbors across the street like he's part of their lives. It's sad, but there's something relatable about it too, that quiet yearning for belonging in a strange city. One day, Phillip lands an unusual job through a Japanese agency that rents out family members to people who need them. It's a real concept in Japan. You can hire someone to play your husband, your wife, sibling, even a co-worker if you need to keep up appearances. For Phillip, it's the start of something strange and unexpectedly profound. The agency is run by Shinji, played by Takahiro Hira, and his colleague Aiko, played by Mari Yamamoto. They treat the whole thing like a legitimate business because it is. It's not a sleazy or exploitative, at least not on the surface. It's about helping clients through emotional needs like marrying someone so their parents feel the pride of a child getting married, or having a mock funeral to hear what people would say about you, even if it's built on performance. But for an actor like Phillip, it might just be the perfect fit. But the job takes an emotional turn when Phillip gets assigned two very different clients. First, there's Mia, a young girl whose mother hires Phillip to pretend to be her absent father for a few weeks, hoping he'll help Mia get into a prestigious school. Then there's Kikuo Hasegawa, a revered actor and author suffering from dementia, whose daughter hires Phillip to pose as a journalist interviewing her father. These two stories sit at the heart of Rental Family. Each one gives Phillip a glimpse into the connection he's been missing. With Mia, he discovers warmth, routine, and that sense of being needed. With Kikuo, he's confronted by time, by memory, legacy, and the strange poetry of playing a role for someone who's forgetting who they are. Fortunately, Phillip is pretty fluent in Japanese and doesn't look down on culturally specific nuances like the interview process for Mia's school or wedding traditions when helping a queer woman wed. Now, here's where the film both shines and stumbles. Individually, these storylines are beautifully realized. Together, they crowd the film. At 103 minutes, there's a lot packed in, including the incorporation of Shinji's and Akio's internal conflictions with the rental service. You can feel the film wanting to slow down to let us sit in these quiet moments longer, but it keeps jumping between threads, almost like an episode of TV. If the film had committed fully to one of those relationships, it could have been devastating in the best way. Mia's story alone has enough emotional weight to carry the film. She's bright and perceptive, and watching her slowly open up to this man she thinks is her father is genuinely touching. You know it's all going to fall apart eventually, but the heartbreak still lands. They're supposed to have 3 weeks together, but cumulatively, we only see them spend a few scenes together. Then there's Kikuo's arc, is also tender and sweet, but feels a bit undercooked. There's even a sequence where Phillip takes an impromptu road trip to his hometown, and it's emotional and funny in spots, but it's already feeling like a detour in an already packed story. It's like classic doing too much when less would say more problem. That said, the performances keep everything grounded. Brendan Fraser brings such a warmth to Phillip. There's a quiet sadness behind his eyes, but also this innate decency. He never overplays it. You believe that he's genuinely curious about people, that he wants to help even when he's pretending. It's one of those understated, soulful performances that fits him perfectly. Takahiro Hira as Shinji brings a nice mix of dry humor and melancholy. He's seen it all before, and there's this subtle commentary in his performance about the transactional nature of modern connection, how we all in some ways rent pieces of family or friendships to get by. And Mari Yamamoto's Aiko gives the film its lighter moments, but also one of its more poignant scenes when her own pretend mistress gig goes sideways. From a craft perspective, Rental Family is just lovely. Cinematographer Takuro Ishizaka captures Tokyo with a sense of stillness and intimacy. The city feels both lonely and alive. Neon reflections on wet pavement, narrow hallways, and small apartments that somehow feel enormous when Phillip's in them. It's the kind of visual storytelling that makes you feel his isolation without underlying it. The score by John Thor Bergeson and Alex Summers is another highlight. It's soft, melodic, and a little off-kilter, like a lullaby that never quite resolves. There's a beautiful use of piano and gentle percussion that sneaks up on you emotionally. It gives even the most awkward or quiet scenes a kind of melancholy rhythm. Hikari's direction is sensitive and vibrant. She doesn't judge any of the characters, even when the situations get absurd. She's more interested in the emotional truth underneath the performance, in what it means to be seen, even if it's through a lie. Still, the film's biggest weakness is its structure. By juggling too many stories, it loses some of its emotional precision. The through line is always Philip's search for connection, but the film feels split between being a quiet character study and a patchwork of short stories. You can sense what Hikari's going for, this mosaic of human need, but it might have hit harder if it had focused on one core relationship and let it breathe. Even so, Rental Family finds these small, honest moments that stay with you. There's a scene where Kikuo digs up a childhood memory box, and another where Phillip advocates for Mia during the school interview, showing how deeply he's come to care for her. Those scenes break through the film's clutter and hit straight into the heart. Ultimately, Rental Family is about connection, the kind we make, fake, and desperately need. It's about loneliness and kindness and the human desire to belong somewhere, even if we have to rent it out for a while. And while it may not always come together perfectly, the film earns its emotional payoffs through sheer sincerity and a heartfelt central performance from Brendan Fraser. If you've ever felt out of place in a new city, in a new life, or just within yourself, this one's going to hit close to home. It's messy and tender and quietly profound. You've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe for all the latest movie reviews and award season coverage. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section what you thought of the film. See you next time.